Tell me, in your opinion, having worked with all the people you've worked with, having had the conversations with the people in the know, is nuclear terrorism really feasible and realistic in North America?
Yeah, what a lot of people don't appreciate is that once you get your hands on the nuclear explosive, particularly the bomb-grade highly enriched uranium, and I'll get into it. It's frighteningly easy to steal, even in the United States, and we have lots and lots of examples to prove this. But once you get your hands on it, the guy that invented the triggering mechanism for the Hiroshima bomb, a Dr. Luis Alvarez, he's also the one, by the way, that discovered that the dinosaurs were killed by the KT asteroid. He was a brilliant guy, Nobel laureate in physics. He said, and he proved that if you get some bomb-grade highly enriched uranium, 90%, the size of a large grapefruit, and you put one grapefruit on the ground, and then the other one 6 feet above it, and you drop the one onto the other, and you hit a square, you can get 50% of the Hiroshima yield, perhaps even a little more than that. Obviously that's not how a terrorist would do a bomb, but he would do it more like Alvarez did the Hiroshima bomb. He'd get a piece of cannon barrel, and the United States has thousands of old Civil War cannon barrels lying around. You could use one of those. You'd get a chunk of it, and you'd tamp off the ends, and you put one. It would be about 50 pounds of. And this stuff it's the densest material in the known universe. It's the heaviest material in the known universe, so it's not that big. You put one end at the end of the cannon barrel, and then you put the other one at the far end, and you, with extra high explosive, in case of the Hiroshima bomb, they use cordite, you blast one into the other, and if you get enough momentum, that you could conceivably get the Hiroshima yield. This is what Alvarez said. It was so easy to do something like this. He said that even a high school kid could do it. He wrote that in his memoir.
Now that is really scary.
Yeah, and if you want, we can. It's frighteningly easy to steal the nuclear explosive. And we recently had an 82-year-old nun, the biggest repository for bomb-grade highly enriched uranium in the United States. There's a storage facility. I forgot what the numbers. It's a letter and like 4 numbers, and I've got photographs of it on my iPad. That it's in the Y12 facility at Oak Ridge, outside of Knoxville, and about 20 months ago, an 82-year-old nun broke into it. She cut through the fence at night, middle of the night, with bolt cutters, and she went across some hills and through some woods and stuff, and she found the big facility. And she didn't break into it, but she sat down. Now, she'd had a dozen 9/11 style terrorists. She certainly could have broken into it. And by the way, you can assemble on the spot an improvised Hiroshima style nuclear bomb, and could have blown the whole thing up.
Wow!
But she said she painted peace slogans on the walls, and then sat down and sang peace songs for several hours until finally a lone random patrol randomly picked her up. And we've done some tests over the years. They're called mock intrusion tests, and they'll get guys. Sometimes they're ex-special forces guys, and they'll disguise them as maintenance workers, whatever. And they'll send them into these nuclear facilities with the mission to see if they can steal some nuclear explosive, plutonium or uranium. At Rocky Flats, which has been closed down now, but it used to be the biggest repository of nuclear explosive, they used to walk out with the stuff 80% of the time. The average nowadays is 50% of the time. That they had one test in Los Alamos, and apparently these guys were bored with carrying out a canister of nuclear explosive. I think they wanted to find out how much they could steal, so they dragged in a flatbed Home Depot garden cart, which was completely against protocol. that in fact the Nuclear Regulatory, the Department of Energy was the one that they attempted to disqualify the test because the Home Depot garden cart wasn't on their equipment list, and they were overruled and said, "Oh, come on, you're just embarrassed. These guys whipped you." Again.
Exactly.
and the irony is because these guys are stealing stuff. That there could be gunfire exchange,
Sure.
and so they have to warn the facilities in advance that guys are coming to steal your nuclear explosive.
But I'd like to ask you a question at this point, after what you just said. What would happen if real bad guys went into the facility and actually stole the nuclear material, and the people within the facility thought, "Oh, geez, we're being tested"?
Yeah, well, the people that are doing the mock intrusion tests, they're afraid that they might actually fire some shots, and so they do. They will. The guards know when these people are coming. They will even do computer simulations. So they'll say, now when this test goes on, don't shoot these guys. But even so, they still end up getting beaten.
Wow.
And that if we can't secure our stuff, how do you expect Pakistan, India, Russia, nations live by the baksheesh?
Mm-hmm.
That Japan actually has the most poorly secured nuclear explosive probably on Earth. That they've produced 40 tons of plutonium explosive. They're just finishing up. It goes online in about 4 months. They finished up a plutonium production plant that's going to crank out 9 tons a year. They have no earthly use for any of the plutonium. They're just stockpiling it, and that they don't secure it. They don't have armed guards or anything. And anytime, it drives the Obama administration crazy. They drove the Bush administration crazy. They just don't believe. They believe it's an insult to the Japanese people to have armed guards protecting anything. They have a few guys with white gloves and white outfits wandering around, look like lab guys.
Well, these days in Japan, if you want any nuclear material, all you have to do is go to Fukushima.
Well, and you could go. That Fukushima's in horrible danger of melting down. That number 4 building.
Yep.
If they have a bad meltdown there, they'd have to evacuate all of Fukushima. And maybe some other plants too, and we don't protect Fukushima.
Robert, stand by. Stand by. We've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation. Robert Gleason is my special guest. His website, www.thenuclearterrorist.com. Scary stuff, but I'll tell you something, Exonation. The truth usually is. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to give us a call, toll free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships. Not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com. $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Now you can dial in to listen to the X-Zone Radio Show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365. Now you can dial in to listen to the X-Zone Radio Show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Robert Gleason is our special guest of this hour. We're talking about nuclear terrorism, and he is the author of The Nuclear Terrorist. His website is www.thenuclearterrorist.com. Robert, I understand that President Obama says, and this is a quote, that a single nuked new U.S. city is his worst nightmare. Is his fear realistic?
Oh, yeah. However, it wouldn't be my worst nightmare. The stuff, as we talked before, the stuff is demonstrably not that hard to steal, the nuclear explosive. Mm-hmm. And my concern would be that a really sophisticated terrorist group, particularly one of these Pakistani groups, which has enormous access to Pakistan's nuclear explosive. Pakistan, among other things, they're so afraid that the United States and India are going to come in and take their nukes away from them that they keep a significant number of nukes in perpetual motion on their highways. They put them in convoys of trucks and even vans, and they're constantly shipping them around the country. So have you ever got the itinerary of these convoys? You know, terrorists could go in, blow them up, steal the stuff. So the stuff's not that hard to get, particularly if you have you've co-opted or coerced a trusted insider. You give me an insider who's got access to this kinds of stuff. I can steal anything in the world, and you know, Pakistan's very vulnerable to this. Our former ambassador under President Obama said in a WikiLeaks memo she wasn't afraid of terrorists stealing Pakistani's nuclear explosive. She was afraid of the officials and the employees stealing it and then selling it or giving it to terrorists. I mean, you can't even trust the people that are supposed to be guarding it. And so once you get that, you know, and you can make the bombs, and and my scenario would be that these terrorists wouldn't steal enough for a single nuke. You know, you just nuke one city, and we figure out there's not any more. We might our retaliation might be total. It might be that we might take out every nation that we think is hostile to us. A single nuclear attack is simply beyond bearing. You know, the idea that these people are going to do more, that, you have to do something. On the other hand, if the terrorists stockpiled enough nuclear explosive to do a half a dozen attacks in a half a dozen major cities, we might just pull out of the Mideast. We might start, throwing money at people. We may, particularly if they indicated that they had 6 more bombs. What are we going to lose 6 more cities? we might actually walk away from something like that. So my worst case scenario would be that, if you can steal enough explosive for one bomb, you can probably steal enough for 6 more. And that's what scares me. And the groups who would be capable of doing it have only been in business for about 7 years. So, I mean, it is...
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Is it better that more countries have nuclear arms in order to create a bigger checkmate around the world, or should countries around the world